Do you know when we prepare in the tent of meeting with the Lord, our intimate and secret place with God, you will be given everything that you need. As you are standing in a place in this season of thankfulness, even for the smallest of things that God has done for you, you mark this time in history as a Gilgal, and you say to the enemy, goodbye, I have no time for you. You remember his epic exploits as one of the 12 spies, and you know the story. He and Caleb are the only ones who prevailed. I believe the reason Joshua knew what to do, when to do it, he had the tactical skills and the knowledge of leadership, but without intimacy and dependency and obedience unto God, without God's strategy and timing, he would never have taken the land. Because if you're just knowledge without revelation, you're lost. It can't hold up. In Numbers 27:28, the Lord said to Moses, take Joshua, the son of Nun, a man in whom is the Spirit, and lay your hands on him, and have him stand before Eleazar the priest, and before all the congregation, and commission him in their sight. You shall put some of your authority on him in order that all the congregation of the sons of Israel may obey him. And you know it would be Joshua that would lead the Israelites into the promised land. Listen to what the Lord promised Joshua, and let this sink into you afresh today. No man will be able to stand before you all the days of your life. Just as I have been with Moses, I will be with you. I will not fail you or forsake you. Be strong and courageous. For you shall give this people possession of the land which I swore to their fathers to give them. Only be strong and very courageous. Be careful to do according to all the law which Moses my servant commanded you. Do not turn it to the right or to the left, so that you may have success wherever you go. This book of the law shall not depart from your mouth, but you shall meditate on it day and night, so that you may be careful to do according to all that is written in it. And then you will make your way prosperous, and then you will have success. The word of the Lord, have I not commanded you? Be strong and courageous. Do not tremble or be dismayed, for the Lord your God is with you wherever you go. Say, wherever I go, the Lord is with me. Mighty people of God. Do you believe that about yourself? In here. There's a farmer's market across the street. There are words of knowledge to be had. There are people to be healed and saved and delivered at the farmer's market. So while you're buying your carton of blueberries, why don't you go heal somebody? Look, if you're already afraid because I said that, you just might need to get back in the tent. Do not turn to the right. Do not turn to the left. Come on. Put your blinders on. Giddy up. Let's go. Focus on what God is saying, not your fear of what people will do. Be strong and very courageous. The Lord made sure Joshua heard the words, because faith comes by hearing. Who are you listening to these days? Who speaks over you? Who do you let speak over you? Come on, who defines you by their words? The Lord or the people you're trying to please? Look, I'm not saying go around and be irritating. Be a person of honor. But watch who you let pour poison in your ears. And when you get home, there will be plenty of assignments that try to come and tell you, those people are a bunch of whack jobs. Can't believe you went to that thing of Randy Clark's. That's not in the Bible. Are you going to get in an argument? Or are you going to pray for them? Amen. That was about 30 of you that said that. When God gives you an assignment, stop trying to rationalize the assignment. Did you hear that? How many rationalists are there out there? You know, as wild as I am incredibly rational. My husband's rational, I'm rational. We're both very, for the most part, non-emotional. Not shut down emotions, but we're logical. And then we have a son, he's 23, and he's all kinds of emotion. And I would look at my husband would look at me, and we'd be like, where did we get this child? we would say, well, snap out of it. What is wrong with you right now? Oh, you don't understand me. It's like, clearly. My husband, he's so awesome. I adore my husband's the kindest man I ever met, and he's super cute, which is all those things combined why I married him. But he is so understanding and so gentle. I am understanding, but I wouldn't say that I'm gentle by any stretch of the imagination. But with my son, I have had to learn to be. Because when the Lord sends me on assignment for my son, and he will, come on, the Lord cares about your family. When the Lord sends me on these assignments with my son, they're often peculiar. And I used to try to rationalize that. And as soon as I rationalize it, for some of you, when you rationalize, fear will come in. For some of you, when you rationalize, intolerance will come in. Oh. That was just for me, I'm sure. And for all the other moms who are logical and have emotional children, thank you. Okay, listen, let me get to this. I want to have ministry time. In Joshua chapter 3 and 4, we're reading of the Israelites crossing the Jordan River on dry ground. From the place where the priests carried the Ark of the Covenant, one man from each tribe was instructed to pull 12 stones. God included everyone so every tribe would have a stone of remembrance. Hello? Every tribe had a stone of remembrance. What did God do for us in this moment? It was a miracle. Joshua heard the Lord and obeyed, and he told the men, and they obeyed. Instant unified obedience again creates a place for God to move. The place of God's power for the Israelites was marked, and these stones would be a reminder for future generations of power and of the magnificence of God. Even those who did not believe in Yahweh, the tribes against them heard of the miracle. Turn to Joshua 5:1 quickly. Let's go. Now it came about when all the kings of the Amorites who were beyond the Jordan to the west, and all the kings of the Canaanites who were by the sea, heard how the Lord had dried up the waters of the Jordan before the sons of Israel until they had crossed. Say, until they had crossed. That their hearts melted, and there was no spirit in them any longer because of the sons of Israel. Come on. Miracles are the signpost among unbelievers, and even if they are not there to witness the miracle with their eyes, when their ears hear, poof, a seed's been planted. I told you last night, my entire extended family includes some agnostics and some atheists. And when I tell the stories of God's epic exploits through my life, poof, seeds are planted. And many have already borne fruit, and the rest of it will happen because nothing that comes out of God's mouth is going to return void. So remember the entire assignment of Joshua 5. They're entering into enemy territory to take the land that God promised them. God promised them. When God gives an order, he fulfills it. So pick this up in Joshua 5:2b. We read, at that time, the Lord said to Joshua, make for yourself flint knives and circumcise again the sons of Israel the second time. So Joshua made himself flint knives and circumcised the sons of Israel at Gibeath Ha'araloth. That's a mouthful. This is the reason why Joshua circumcised them. All the people who came out of Egypt, who were males, all the men of war died in the wilderness along the way after they came out of Egypt. For all the people who came out were circumcised, but all the people who were born in the wilderness along the way as they came out of Egypt had not been circumcised. For the sons of Israel walked 40 years in the wilderness until all the nation, that is the men of war who came out of Egypt, perished because they did not listen to the voice of the Lord, to whom the Lord had sworn that he would not let them see the land which the Lord had sworn to their fathers to give us, a land flowing with milk and honey. Their children whom he raised up in their place, Joshua circumcised, for they were uncircumcised because they had not circumcised them along the way. Now, when they finished circumcising all the nation, they remained in their places in the camp until they were healed. Verse 9, then the Lord said to Joshua, today I have rolled away the reproach of Egypt from you. So the name of that place is called Gilgal to this day. There is so much in this text, but let me just pull out a couple of things that are relevant to what we're talking about. The Israelites are headed to the promised land. Say the promised land. But there's a battle in the promised land. Being circumcised at this particular time is not awesome in the natural. But in the supernatural, it's a game changer. In the supernatural, everything shifts. The text says God rolled away the reproach of Egypt from them. To be circumcised was to be set apart, to be consecrated unto the Lord. The Lord made sure they were marked as sons of Yahweh, not slaves of Egypt. Do you know you're marked as a son of Yeshua, not a slave of the enemy? The season of slavery was over. It was time for change. The place they were circumcised was called Gilgal. Gilgal means rolling, a wheel or a circle or something that moves and rolls. Most commentators believe there were many Gilgals in Israel, because Gilgal is thought to be a sacred site where God's power and might was demonstrated, and stones were set up in a type of circular pattern, and generations would return to those sacred sites to remember the faithfulness of God. Gilgal, the place of sanctification and change. I can feel it. I can feel the shift. We have Gilgals in our life. Oh, come on. There are places throughout your sanctification process and mine that have marked us by God. The Lord is using the fallout from the pandemic to set us up for a new Gilgal. Come on. The shift. But you got to allow him to cut away everything that's false. Circumcision isn't pleasant. Yesterday morning, he showed me, Joe, there's some places in your heart I'd really like to cut out of there. I was like, could you just put some balm of Gilead on there and just rub it in, you know? He's like, no, because those roots have been in there a long time. I would rather pull them out, cut them out. Though you slay me, I will trust you. Every lie and everything that has tried to take you out during this pandemic, every unmet expectation, every resentment you don't even speak about. Come on, church. It's time to let some circumcision happen, because Gilgal is the entry point to your promised land. Come on. Unless they went through circumcision, they weren't going to gain their inheritance. And I'm going to tell you right now, freely we got everything from Jesus. But unless we are perfectly positioned for what God is about to do, tent dwelling, the intimacy with God, letting him cut away what is false, letting him recalibrate us to a perfectly positioned place, unless we are willing to recognize, oh God, what you have done for me, and put a stone in its place so future generations will see the glory of God upon your life. Gilgal, a place of change. We'll finish up with Joshua chapter 5, verse 11. Would you go there with me? On the day after Passover, on that very day, they ate some of the produce of the land, unleavened cakes and parched grain. Verse 12, the manna ceased on that day. After they had eaten some of the produce of the land, so that the sons of Israel no longer had manna, but they ate some of the yield of the land of Canaan during that year. The Lord did a new thing right there at Gilgal. No more manna, new provision. I know that's a word for some of you in here. In Gilgal, entering your promised land, there is new provision. God is doing this new thing. But they, the Israelites, are what we need to examine. They went into a place of worship. And there God did that new thing. Put him first. And then, honestly, before they were all healed up, they get an assignment. Go to Jericho. I don't know. Some of you are waiting to be completely, totally healed up before you go to Jericho. And how kind is God? He knew that they weren't all healed up, so he just had them march around the city. Do you read these texts and go, what? We're all still like walking like this, so. But it doesn't say they walked slow or fast. But I'm pretty sure it wasn't very fast. Honestly, yesterday I had a time of it with the Lord. I was dying laughing. Walking around 7 times, and then the miracle of God is produced. Boom, all the walls come down. I think the people inside were so flipped out, so caught off guard, that they just went in and went, boom, overtook them and didn't even have to hurt anything, just like, take you out. Do you know, when we prepare in the tent of meeting with the Lord, our intimate and secret place with God, you will be given everything that you need. As you are standing in a place in this season of thankfulness, even for the smallest of things that God has done for you, you mark this time in history as a Gilgal, and you say to the enemy, goodbye, I have no time for you. The best spiritual warfare is to keep your eyes riveted on God, proclaim his glory, speak his word aloud, and speak your prophetic promises over your life according to the will of God. And stop all that nonsense. If I hear one more person say, I'm being attacked today. If that's you, I did just offend you. And here's why. You are stronger than you know, more powerful than you can perceive. You have more authority than anything you've ever experienced because Jesus Christ is King. Why don't you let him rule over you and put the enemy in his place, which is under your feet. And stop that, you're under attack. If you're having a rough time, get some prayer. Prayer moves mountains.